Have you ever wondered how someone could just invent a new life from scratch to get into Europe? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain on a secret step-by-step playbook for faking an asylum claim. It's a whole system that turns a person's life story into a product that can be bought and sold.
And that's really the big question here, isn't it? How do you actually manufacture a no identity? This is so much more than just crossing a border. We're talking about systematically erasing who you are and building a completely convincing, tragic victim in your place. So let's break down how it's done.
So you might think this all starts with a desperate person fleeing danger, right? Nope, not even close. The journey actually begins in Kathmandu, and it starts as a business proposition. It's a calculated deal, run by brokers who have figured out how to turn the entire asylum system into a very profitable business.
The first step, the way in, isn't some dramatic plea for help, it's the promise of a seasonal visa. You see, the brokers sell this as the path of least resistance. It's a whole lot cheaper, and you get to skip all the crazy paperwork and huge bank guarantees you'd need for a regular tourist visa. It makes for a very tempting offer.
So who's the mastermind behind all this? The broker. And you gotta understand, this isn't just a smuggler. Think of the broker more like a project manager for fraud. They are part of this huge network that stretches all the way from Nepal to Paris, and they manage every single detail, from faking documents to directing emotional performances in interviews. For them, this isn't about charity, it's how they make their living.
Okay, so the client is in Europe on that initial visa. Now the game changes. The legal entry part of the trip is over, and the illegal, cross-country journey into Western Europe, that's where it really begins.
The route itself is a well-oiled machine. First, you fly legally into a country like Poland or Romania. Easy enough. Once you're there, you connect with a new broker who's in charge of the next leg. From there, it's all underground, traveling by taxi or bus, sneaking across borders until you get to your final destination, say France. And what's the very last thing you do? You destroy your passport. Poof. Your travel history, your legal identity, it's gone.
And of course, this little service doesn't come free. Just that last part of the journey, that illegal hop over the border into a country like France, that's going to cost you between 600 and 900 euros. And that's paid right to the local brokers who make it happen. It's just one of many payments in this very long, very expensive process.
All right, now we get to the heart of the whole operation. The person has made it, their passport is gone, and now the real work begins, manufacturing a victim. This is about building a completely new person from the ground up, with a life story that is tailor-made to exploit the asylum system.
And you know where it starts? Online. First thing they're told to do is scrub their social media clean. Every happy photo with family and friends, gone. Posts about parties, travel, any sign of a normal, good life, it all has to be deleted. The idea is to create a digital ghost, a total blank slate, so they can then paint this new tragic story onto it.
Next up, the paper trail. And the scale of the forgery here is just wow. Brokers get a whole library of fake documents made, either back in Nepal or even right there in Paris. We're talking about fake death threats, forged police reports, bogus arrest warrants. They'll whip up fake medical records showing you were attacked, even create fake newspaper clippings to back up the story. Every single piece of paper is a lie, all designed to build a mountain of false proof.
So you're probably asking yourself, how on earth do they get away with this? Well, the whole scheme cleverly exploits the system's blind spots. Nepal doesn't have a big, central database where a French official can just look up a police report and check if it's real. When you combine that with language barriers and just not being familiar with what official stamps are supposed to look like, these forgeries often slip right through the cracks, at least at first.
Okay, so the fake identity is built, the forged documents are all in a pile. It's time for the final act, the asylum interview. This is the big one. This is the high-stakes performance where the entire fake story gets put to the ultimate test in front of a real immigration officer.
And this quote, coming from someone who's actually been through the process, it really says everything you need to know. The entire coaching system is built on this one idea. It's not about telling the truth of what happened to you. It's about mastering the art of the lie and putting on a convincing show.
And the training for this is intense. This is not a quick little chat. Applicants go through a full-on coaching program that lasts for months. First, the brokers help them write a detailed fictional script about being persecuted. Then, they go through months of mock interviews, practicing their answers over and over again so they never slip up. And get this, they even get training in emotional acting, when to cry, how to look scared, all to win over the officer. The stories themselves tend to follow a few formulas. The brokers just reuse the same themes that they know have worked before. By far the most popular story is pretending to have threats from Maoist groups. After that, you've got tales of state oppression or social discrimination. They're basically just recycled scripts, tweaked for each new person.
So, after the interview, after all the acting and the fake documents, what happens? Well, the decision that comes down basically splits their future into two totally different realities. One is filled with rewards, the other with a whole lot of uncertainty.
And the difference is just stark. I mean, look at this. If the claim gets approved, you've hit the jackpot. A 10-year residency card, the right to work legally, and you can even bring your family over. But if you get rejected, the options are pretty terrible. You can go into hiding and live undocumented, try for an expensive paper marriage, appeal the decision, or even just try to apply all over again with a totally new fake story.
But here's the final and maybe the most unbelievable twist. A refugee, by definition, is someone who cannot return to their home country because they're afraid for their life. And yet, some of the people who get approved use the refugee travel document to fly to India, and then they just walk across the open border back into Nepal for a visit. They completely defy the entire foundation of their claim, all while trying not to get caught.
And all of this leaves us with one really difficult final thought. This whole playbook shows how a system built on compassion and trust can be methodically picked apart. So the question is, when a system is designed to protect the truly vulnerable, how can it possibly defend itself against an entire network that has perfected the art of the lie?